working hard every day to get you home.
He's still out there. He's still out there. We just need to find him.
There is one person that knows where he is. Terry Horman, where is Kyron?
If you have to get on the stand and plead the fifth, and you can't tell, exactly what happened or didn't happen, if you put the truth out there and it's not incriminating, then why wouldn't she say what happened?
If I ever confronted her, if she would ever give me that chance, I would talk to her. And I would talk to her about the fact that Kyron never asked a thing of her except for her to love him.
She wants Kyron to know she'll never stop looking.
I have to do this. I have to do it each and every day, because if I don't, who's going to?
Tonight, a new development in the mystery surrounding the disappearance of 7-year-old Kyron Horman. You remember this case. We covered it so much. It's been 2 long years since little Kyron vanished from his school science fair. And now Kyron's biological mother is putting the heat on the one person she believes knows what happened to Kyron, his stepmother, Terry Horman. Kyron vanished 2 years ago, Monday, after attending a school science fair in Portland. Stepmom Terry Horman brought him to school that day. She was the last person to see him. Well, tonight, Kyron's mother is suing stepmom Terry Horman, you see stepmom right there, for custodial interference because Desiree Young, the mother, says she believes the stepmom Terry Horman had something to do with her son's disappearance.
I hope every day that Kyron comes through the door and that we find him okay. I want that with everything. But with the information and the evidence I have been presented against Terry, I'm confident that she probably did something to him.
Terry Horman has never officially been called a suspect or even arrested in this case. We reached out to her attorney but have not heard back. Kyron's dad is trying to divorce her, but it's stuck in the courts right now. During this investigation, Kyron's dad found out that his former bodybuilding wife, you see Terry there, even allegedly tried to hire somebody to kill him, and that she also allegedly had a sexting fling with a gardener. Straight out to Bruce McCain, attorney and former captain with Sheriff's Office, very, very knowledgeable on this case. So tonight, Bruce, what do we know about this lawsuit Kyron's mother has filed?
Well, Jane, we haven't actually seen it because it hasn't yet quite been released to the public. But I can tell you already there's going to be some major substantive problems for Desiree. Oregon actually has a statute that allows for a civil suit for custodial interference, but it piggybacks on the criminal statute. So it requires Desiree to do what the prosecutors have been unwilling to do, and that's actually to prove Terry Horman committed a crime. And one of the elements that's going to be very difficult in this case is that the first-degree custodial interference that Desiree has to prove requires a showing that Kyron was taken out of state. That's going to be virtually impossible. It also has a 6-year statute of limitations, so we're still curious why their lawyers are saying we had to do this right away. This really looks like it's more along the lines of Kane's civil suit 2 years ago of trying to force Terry into some kind of a deposition, which she'll never do, and to try to get some information out of her. So
and Kane is the father, by the way, just for those who are unaware of all the players. Kane is the dad. Police told us today that this is not a cold case and that there's a detective assigned to Kyron's case. They wouldn't comment on Terry Horman. Kyron's mom has repeatedly made statements that she believes stepmom Terry had something to do with her son's disappearance. Listen to this.
Terry, I feel like you are at a crossroads in your life. This is not going to get any easier for you. The police will not stop until they find Kyron. You will go to jail, and whoever has been helping you will either have to talk or they will go to jail.
We reached out to Terry Horman's attorney, didn't get a call back. He or Terry invited on our show anytime. Straight out to Victoria Taft, host of the Victoria Taft Show. What do you make of this lawsuit?
Well, it looks to me, Jane, as if it's a placeholder for something that is coming down the pike, maybe throwing everything against the wall and at least putting her marker down and saying, okay, something's got to happen. Maybe they're hoping that something will shake loose some information. Maybe it'll light a fire under the new district attorney who
hates Kyron, just hates him. And we see a lot of writing from her communicating that she did not like him and did not want him in her life. And I just feel now, over a year later, I just feel like she probably harmed him. And
Kyron lived for the most part with his father, Kane, and his stepmother, Terry, and their young daughter. Kyron's biological mom, Desiree, would see the boy on weekends. Well, Desiree says she never realized how Terry felt about her son. Essentially, Desiree feels that Terry hated her son. Now, the stepmom took the fifth before a grand jury. She's been questioned by police, but she's never been arrested. Joe Episcopo, criminal defense attorney. She's been silent. She's been the focus of the investigation, but she's never been charged with anything. Is this one of these, and I hate to say this because it breaks my heart, no body, no case?
Well, as far as the civil suit, she's going to take the Fifth Amendment. They're not going to get anywhere on that. Even if they win $1 million, they're probably never going to collect it. So I don't think they don't have a case either way. Maybe they should have thought about the civil suit against the school, but I just think they're going to have problems just because they say, well, she didn't like the kid. That's not enough to get a conviction in criminal court.
Listen, over the past 2 years, Kyron's mom, Desiree, has resigned herself to the fact that her son is probably dead, and she wants somebody to pay for it.
I just want her to see his face every single day. I want her reminded every single day of what she's done. I want her to suffer. I want her to suffer as much as Kyron has. And those billboards are a reminder that I will never stop. I won't stop until we find him. And
Kyron's dad and stepmother were standing at the school bus stop on the afternoon of June 4th, waiting for Kyron to get off the bus, and he never did. There is Kane, the father, and there is the biological mother. They had split up a long time ago when Kane was living with the stepmother. They have since split up, and they are in the midst of an ugly, ugly divorce. Pat Brown, criminal profiler. Will we ever learn the truth about what happened to this precious young boy?
Well, it's like every one of these other cold cases. They don't have any physical evidence. They have suspicions. They have their beliefs. I'm sure they are looking at Terry Horman, no question about it. But they've got nothing to work with that would lead to any kind of a prosecution. So unless something pops up one day, that's not going to happen. And the civil suit, in my opinion, is kind of ridiculous because the only way to prove that she interfered with anything is to prove that she murdered the child.